Good to see you, Jim
I'm
Nantz.
excited to be asked to be on your show.
Are you kidding me?
This is fun. This is
You
great.
are the man.
You're the man. I watch you all the time. I work out. I saw McGinnis a little bit earlier at the hotel. You know, I live with the NFL Network on anyway. Now that you got your own show on top of it.
Thanks.
I wanted to do it last week, but I had some.
Your hometown.
Yeah.
Houston's your hometown there.
One of my hometowns.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of hometowns.
Yeah. I can't keep track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be another hometown in 2 weeks in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I got a lot of places I grew up, and I call them all my hometowns.
Right.
And I like that because I do feel a tie to those communities.
Right.
This is kind of a hometown here, Foxboro.
In Foxboro.
Because I've been here so many times.
I was about to say, you've probably called in your CBS calling games for the NFL. Is this the place you've called the most games from?
I mean, it's not even close. This is the first 10 years of the second time around that we had the NFL. I used to have the NFL back.
Sure.
In the old days at CBS, we were north of 70 games in 10 years.
Here?
No, not just here. So figure half of, probably more than half, because a lot of playoff games, of course, they were hosting. So probably 40 of the, let's say, 75 games have been right here.
Right, and the Patriots have, since 2000, we talked about it with Bob Kraft when he was here, last 15, 60 years, what they have built here is quite something else. And then you've got a Jets team that's still searching for trying to find the same formula, same mix, and fumbling around for that switch. Tonight, what do you expect to happen this evening?
Well, this weather, if it holds up,
you
said it's a 100% chance of Nantz. I didn't know there was a 100% chance of rain.
It's supposed to pour tonight.
It's supposed to pour. That's the great equalizer. So, listen, Rex has had some really terrific game plans against the Patriots through the years. Last year, 1-1. Both games decided by a field goal. So I'm hoping it's close. Of course, you know, we've had a run of Thursday night games. We have commiserated over this a few times.
Gosh, that's bad. It is bad. It's bad luck. And obviously, there are some teams that just can't get up on the short week. They just can't. But we've seen road teams like the Giants crush it. The Colts got up 24-0. So you can't just say it's the road team. Sometimes it's the home team has some issues with it. But we saw a Sunday night game that was a shutout this week, and if it was on Thursday night, everybody would say, "Oh, that's Thursday night football for you."
I get asked about it all the time, but I can tell you this: I knew that down in Houston we were going to change fortune there. I had made actually a proclamation on a couple of interviews that coming off of the three biggest blowouts in the history of Thursday night football, 3 consecutive weeks.
Right.
If we had one last week that moved into the top 3, I was growing a beard. I was on the record. I was growing a beard to rival Ryan Fitzpatrick. Or I was not going to shave until we had a game that was decided by less than 20 points. So
sort of the opposite of the playoff beard.
I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff.
It would have been a Thursday night beard.
Clean shaven and ready to go tonight for another one.
What has it been like for you? I mean, you have had busy stretches in your career, obviously. There's no busier stretch for you than when you get the Super Bowl, March Madness, Masters for that. But you've been calling 2 games a week for most of the weeks. I know you don't have one on Sunday this week. What's this been like for you doing the Thursday, Sunday?
Love it.
Yeah?
Really do. I mean, I'm so excited. I'm pumped up. I'm physically, emotionally, came into this thing geared up, ready to do it. I've been thinking about it since February 5th when we found out we were going to have this collaboration with NFL Network. And you know, you get into a rhythm and pacing, and I was always worried about the process of how you get prepared for these games. That was my big concern, not the execution, not the actual doing the game, because that's a rush. I mean, standing at the 50-yard line, and you're watching a football game that if you weren't calling it, you'd be at home watching it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's such a thrill to do the games. I was worried about the process of getting there, getting around, and primarily just making sure my eyes scanned everything that I normally would do when I had my 1 game a week practice.
Right.
What was it going to feel like for 2 games? We're doing 15 Thursdays and 12 Sundays. So that means we have 5 weeks where we're not doubling up. But it gets a little intense, but it's not. Don't feel sorry for me.
No.
And if people think I hate to make these stories sound like it's super difficult or it's manual labor. It isn't easy. It is challenging, but I relish it, and I feel very honored and blessed to have the opportunity.
No, and I know that. When in our business, when we talk about schedules and planes and whatever, when we land, we get to hang in Gillette Stadium, and it is a blessing.
What a job! What a job we have.
Final Fours and Masters for you, and you're in 18th Towers, and But it can be a grind. However, on the opposite side, you see more football than most. The best team you've seen through 6 weeks so far would be which team, Jim Nantz?
Well, that's backwards. I haven't seen the Patriots until today. I've seen the Broncos twice. I do think they're going to be back in the Super Bowl. If I had to pick a team from the AFC side, but who knows? These things change on a dime.
And you saw Seattle.
I saw Seattle, and they've lost since then. They lost last Sunday to the Cowboys. Have not seen Dallas in person. We've got a lot of the landscape to still go through, but I had said from the very get-go, most guys, most people when they're asked, who do you like in the Super Bowl as a preview at the beginning of the year, I'll take the 2 teams from last year's Super Bowl, and it never works out that way. This was actually one of those years I think you could have sat down and said, I'll take the 2 teams from last year, and I think it made a lot of sense. Now, here we are in mid-October. I'm not giving up on Seattle just because it lost last week. So we make too many hard, fast conclusions in the media now. And just like people did with this Patriots team we're going to see tonight.
Yeah.
They were writing the obits on this team. It's over. The Patriot run, it's over and it's done with. And now 2 weeks later, a lot of people look rather foolish.
Yeah.
How about the Cowboys after 1 week?
They looked dreadful. They turned the ball over. DeMarco Murray fumbled it. Romo threw it all over the lot. And 5 weeks later, you take a look at the Jets after week 1. Hey,
I was there for that one. I was there for that one.
And now,
you know what I did this week?
What'd you do?
Which I just for my own amusement. It's borders on insanity. But I called our chief researcher, Stuart Milstein, in New York and said, could you dig me up all the clips? I knew he couldn't put together all the studio shows that had strong opinions about the Cowboys after week 1.
Right.
They had lost to the 49ers, and Tony had thrown the 3 picks. I said, can you just round up as much as you can from that Monday, September the 8th? I got about 40 pages back from legendary members of the media that wrote about the Cowboys. I wish. Sometimes I wish I was a graphics operator I could put up on the screen right now. Some accountability. The things that people said about the Cowboys after week 1. It's laughable.
Well, as you know,
but
it's
again,
a week-to-week league.
It is a week-to-week, and it changes so fast. And we're sitting here wondering about, the Jets. What's the future there? What's Rex Ryan? Is he going to last through the season? All these kind of things that are up in the air. If they won tonight, their schedule gets a whole lot easier. I mean, they've gone through a run of quarterbacks in a row from, Peyton and Brady in a stretch of 5 days.
Yes.
They've also seen Aaron Rodgers and Jay Cutler and Phillip Rivers and Matthew Stafford. So, they don't have the consistency of that quality of quarterback coming up. I'm not sitting here making a crazy claim that the Jets are going to win, 9 of their next whatever. But it does change week to week in this league, and we see it all the time.
Then you see that you got the Bills, they're at the Chiefs, which is not going to be an easy spot to play, but the Titans won there back in week 1. You've got the Steelers, who are 3-3, going to wrap up the week on ESPN with the equally 3-3 Texans we saw last week. That was a great, Luck is special. How special is that?
It's neat to see. Well, and how about J.J. Watt in that same game? It's just...
How rare, it's so rare when you hype it up, right? That actually...
It pays off.
Yeah. They both lived up to the hype.
I hate the word hype because, we all end up having to promote things.
Yes.
Whether it's the next game or the next studio show or the next guest you have in the studio or, in my case, the primetime lineup on CBS. So we're in that business that comes with the territory. But you're right. How often do you build up a game and say these 2 faces of the NFL for the future are going to duel tonight, Watt, Luck, and they both were just spectacular. And it's exciting to see the league have guys like that coming up, and Russell Wilson, guys like that.
When you said, what I was doing this week, I thought you were referring to making wine.
It's harvest time.
Here we go. This is your wine?
Yes.
Called The Calling.
Yeah.
Which I like because it's like you have your calling by having this wine, this wonderful Cabernet.
Yeah.
Or your...
This was a long-time, lifetime goal. I lived in the Bay Area as a young boy. My parents, for whatever reason, were curious-minded folks, and they wanted their kids to be exposed to all things. When I was 10 years old, I was walking through grape fields and vineyards, and understanding the process of winemaking. Not that I was sampling or tasting, but that was always a dream. I knew one day I would get into the wine business. I found a tremendous partner named Peter Deutsch. And we formed a company together 6 years ago. We went to market 2 years ago. And The Calling is in 6,000 accounts now nationally, and can be found on many, many wine lists and retail stores.
And
we're loving it.
And thecallingwine.com.
Thecallingwine.com. You are correct.
I'm just trying to sell.
You're a good man. We're here for the calling tonight of this game. And after that, perhaps you will crack open a little bit of our Cabernet Sauvignon.
Well, some of these games I've wanted to have crack something open around 3 minutes in.
Yeah, me too.
Goodbye, friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Let's do it again.
Anytime.
I mean,
we're here every Thursday.
Every Thursday, and I am
every
too.
Thursday. And soon you'll be saying NFL Network, America's most watched NFL network. Soon
Whatever you listen, you
Please.
tell me what you want me to say, and I will do it. Okay?
Done.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern, on Audience.